All right, we are here at my outdoor worm bin, and the last time we were in here, we put in a whole head of cabbage that had previously been frozen, and our goal here is to see if they have eaten any of it or all of it. And we are going to give you kind of a smell by smell, smell-o-vision, play-by-play of what I'm smelling. Now, I'm starting to see it, and when we first came in here, I didn't smell anything at all, and that may have been because we had so much carbon. But let's go ahead and dig underneath and see how much of it they've gotten. It is definitely reduced in size just based on what I'm seeing here. And I think I put my hand all the way underneath to kind of the banana stalk that we had. And yep, sure enough, look at that. Tons of worms right there. And you can see that's the leftover banana stalk. And this is the whole cabbage. So they have eaten, from the outside in. And I think what I'm going to do is kind of break it open. Oh, look at that. Oh man, that's kind of an entryway right there, I think, for a bunch of worms. And you know what? Before I break it open, let's just go kind of underneath and see if there's just a ton of worms. Oh, and then I find the avocado pit right away too. We're finding all kinds of things right here. So looks like, yep, there are some, not a whole lot, but definitely some worms right there. So I'm just going to kind of push my thumb in. Oh, it is very juicy. Very juicy. But yeah, they have not gotten into that right there. And oh yeah, I can definitely smell it. In fact, the executive producer, I think, is getting whiffs of it. But it's really reduced in size. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to try and break it apart. And oh yeah, that is not smelling good. Woo! All right, so my first recommendation is to definitely, if you have a bad cabbage, just cut it in half or in fourths before you freeze it. That way you can put it in your worm bin and not have any issues, or at least put less in there. So worm bins don't typically smell, and that's because the worms kind of get to the rotten food right away. But when you overfeed them, like I clearly did, clearly overfed. Oh my gosh, yeah, that stunk.
Let's not shake it.
Okay, I'm getting some direction from the executive producer. Don't shake it around. All right, so what was I saying? Yeah, so when you overfeed a worm bin, you can definitely make it, produce odors. It's because the worms will eat the rotted food right away. But if you put so much that they can't eat it all, then this happens. So definitely don't overfeed. I think what I'm going to do is, again, keep trying to break it up. Oh, okay, yeah, just step away, executive producer. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in one of these interesting little packages that we got. This is one of those packages that says it's biodegradable. So I think what I'm going to do is just put some of it in there and maybe put some carbon in there. So that's going to be one of the things we're going to put in here. I'm just going to set it to the side, but I'll put it back in. And then I've got another little package, and I think I'm going to put some more inside there. Now, we've put one of these in there before, and they ate it up in about 10 days, so no problems there. And now what I'm going to do is just kind of aerate the bin and mix it up. So clearly, overfeeding the bin, not a good idea. And I've got 5,000 worms in here, so I think we've learned a lesson here. And I don't know, I think maybe they could have taken about half of that cabbage if I had cut it up or diced it up or even blended it up. But whole like that, not going to happen. Here is the pumpkin stem. And let me see if I feel it any mushier. And not really, still feels pretty woody. So let's keep digging around and kind of get the dry stuff into the middle and the middle stuff out to the edge. And you'll notice that there are a lot more castings than we typically see. And that's because I didn't harvest any this time around because I just wanted to make the cabbage undisturbed so I could really get a look at it and see how it did. So let's keep mixing around.
Oh my gosh, that is awful.
Is it really bad? I can't smell it that much.
You can't?
No.
Oh.
Oh, okay, bad. You must have got most of the smell of it because I did not. It wasn't that bad to me. All right, so we've got a little bit of a hole here for them, and we're going to put all this stuff back in. But first, we're going to put down some bedding, which is carbon, and this is just shredded cardboard boxes. And I'm going to put this on. Now, carbon goes in different kinds of filters and stuff, and it absorbs a lot of smells. So when you put shredded cardboard or shredded paper, I like to use cardboard because it doesn't get matted down as much. It helps to mask the smell, so that also helps with critters kind of finding this nasty stuff and trying to get into your bins. But in this outdoor worm bin with the top folded over, sometimes critters like to hide in here. And when I went to go film this and grab this bag out, I found a little black snake. I think it's a black racer. They're pretty common here in Florida. And it was a baby, which means that there is probably a mama snake somewhere around, which is good because they will take care of any excess rodents or that kind of thing and keep them away from my garden. So we've got a good portion of the cabbage right here. I'm going to put this other portion right there, and then we'll put this little portion right there, and I think that is pretty much all the stuff that we found while we were aerating the bin. And I like to aerate the bin to kind of break up any spots that might be fermenting or getting ammonia, smells in it, that kind of thing. So I think we're ready. I'm going to put more carbon down, more bedding. So there we go, some right there, and some more there. And putting down this bedding is really good for the volume of your bin. The worms eventually eat it all. And like I said, it gets rid of odors and helps to keep the moisture right there where it's needed, right near the food. So, I totally forgot the amendments. I think the smell kind of overwhelmed us. And I know why we forgot the amendments, because we didn't put any extra food in. I had some of this, and you know what? Maybe I'll just put a little bit down, because it's been 10 days. It's going to be another 10 days. I think now that I separated it out, they'll be able to get to it better. So how about I just give them a little bit of food up top, like that. We'll skip this onion for another time. And then we'll go ahead and lay down a little bit of worm chow right here, along with a little bit of coffee right there. And then finally some eggshell grit for them. And then we'll just bury it up. One of the things that I love about this outdoor worm bin is that I can just come in here and add water anytime. I don't even need to think about, is the bin too wet or too dry, because the water just comes right out of the fabric pot, and it just has the perfect temperature, or I'm sorry, the perfect moisture. And in fact, right here, I'm loving the moisture. And what I did yesterday is I came in here with the hose and sprayed it down. I know, right out of the tap, bad, right? You should use rainwater. But these worms seem to have no problem with it, and I just love how this bin keeps the perfect amount of moisture for the worms in here. And check that out right there. Hopefully you can see it. That is a newly laid cocoon. It is almost clear. It is absolutely amazing. Hopefully you can see that right there at the tip of my finger. All right, just because we can, we'll add a little bit more carbon right there. So I hope you all are doing well. I hope your worm bins are doing well. So happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.